I myself am not a huge Kyle Pitts guy for the New York Giants. I'm a huge Kyle Pitts fan, just not for the New York Giants, but there are a lot of people in the Giants community who really want Kyle Pitts. He's one of the most freakishly athletic prospects in the 2021 NFL draft and possibly in the past 5 drafts. He's one of those guys that is a complete mismatch nightmare at the tight end position, similarly enough to Evan Engram back in the 2017 draft, but this guy is just on another level. So I kind of wanted to make a video of what if the New York Giants drafted Kyle Pitts? What would need to happen for that to happen? And what would happen in the season if we drafted Kyle Pitts? So I'm excited to get into it. It's going to appeal to both the Kyle Pitts lovers and the Kyle Pitts haters. So that being said, let's get right into it. Now first, let's clear up some misconceptions that a lot of people have towards Kyle Pitts, or rather fans that don't want Kyle Pitts. A lot of people think that we hate Kyle Pitts and we don't think he's going to be an NFL bust, and I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I'm speaking for myself. I may be speaking for anyone else that's watching this video, but I am not a guy that dislikes Kyle Pitts. I actually think he's going to be a fantastic tight end in the league, and he's going to be a mismatch nightmare, like I said, to Evan Engram back in 2017. But I don't think tight end is really the place to go for Kyle Pitts or for the New York Giants in drafting Kyle Pitts 11th overall, a team that still has a lot of needs, especially at wide receiver. But let's get on to what if the New York Giants did draft Kyle Pitts? What would need to happen if the Giants actually were to pull the trigger and put Kyle Pitts' name on that draft card, 11th overall? Now, number one, I feel like the Giants would have to be more so comfortable with what their wide receiver core looks like. We all know that John Mara, Dave Gettleman, these guys said we're going to give help to Daniel Jones. Obviously, we don't know if they're actually going to do that, but they obviously acknowledge that there has to be some help for Daniel Jones and give him more weapons. Now, that could mean Kyle Pitts, but at the same time, when you think of weapons, you're thinking of wide receiving core, right? You look at that wide receiving core last year for the 2020 New York Giants. This is a wide receiving core that couldn't get more than 2 yards of separation average for the whole entire season. So none of those guys. And think about it. In 2019, this was the same receiving core, and they were a lot better. Okay, so this is obviously a deteriorating wide receiving core, a receiving core that does not match Jason Garrett's scheme, or Jason Garrett doesn't match the wide receiving core. Whatever the case may be, it's very apparent that the New York Giants need an upgrade at the wide receiver position. I know a lot of people say Kyle Pitts can play wide receiver. I don't think he could be a full-time wide receiver. That being said, I feel like the Giants would have to be comfortable with the wide receivers that they have leading up to the draft. That means free agency. Now, I would think that the Giants went ahead and grabbed up a guy like Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay. We don't know if that's really in the future or a likelihood for the New York Giants, as Kenny Golladay may be going through the franchise tag. We may have to trade for Kenny Golladay. I don't think that would be a good idea. And then Allen Robinson, who wants upwards amount of $20 million and over at the wide receiver position. Insane amount for just one wide receiver. So you got to put that into perspective. We don't know if that's really going to be a possibility, or the Giants may have went ahead and got a guy that was a late cut, because obviously the cap space is not as good as it was in past years. So we may see some surprise cuts from the wide receiving core. You don't know. Or the Giants went ahead and they grabbed themselves a Corey Davis, or someone they feel like is a comfortable weapon for them. Not exactly a number one, but a comfortable weapon for them, like a Corey Davis, or I guess you could say Will Fuller could be a comfortable number one. He just gets hurt a lot. Curtis Samuel, guys like that in that tier. Now, the reason why I say this, the Giants would have to be comfortable at wide receiver before drafting Kyle Pitts, is because the Giants, at number 11, will definitely, in every case and scenario, every mock draft you look at, you're going to have at least one or two wide receivers from that big three available at number 11. And we cannot forget about Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman has been climbing up draft boards. He just ran a 4.39 40-yard dash at 6'2". All right, so he is extremely fast, has the height, has the route running ability. A lot of people are saying he is the best route runner in this draft. So they're about 4. He's creeping up into a big 4. It used to be a big 3. It might be a big 4 of wide receivers in this draft. And I really doubt the Giants would go ahead and pick up Kyle Pitts after picking up Evan Ingram's 5th-year option, and pick up Kyle Pitts while neglecting the wide receiving core, with Jalen Waddle possibly available and Rashad Bateman most likely definitely available. So the Giants definitely need to be comfortable with their wide receiving core before they can even think about missing out on those 2 prospects, maybe even Devontae Smith, who knows, right? Any of the wide receiver prospects from the big 4. Now, another way I could see the Giants going after Kyle Pitts would have to be if the Giants dealt Evan Engram before the draft. Now, preferably this would be before March 17th, which is the start of the new league year. The Giants did pick up the 5th-year option on Evan Ingram's rookie contract, giving him another year on the Giants roster that ends in 2022, in the beginning of the 2022 season. But the Giants could definitely go back on that. Maybe they had some second thoughts. They could still find their way to get out of that 5th-year option before March 17th, saving them another $6 million. Now, if the Giants were to do this, I can definitely see them going after Kyle Pitts. Why? Because they are of the same prototype. They're not of the same play style, but definitely of the same prototype. A mismatch nightmare at tight end, that a guy that can pretty much play any position on the field at, outside receiver, slot receiver, the tight end position, a little wing back formation. They can do pretty much anything. And I could see the Giants wanting to replace Evan Engram with a guy that can definitely catch the ball and be more consistent in Kyle Pitts. So that's another reason I feel like they would have to deal Evan Engram out, whether in a trade or cutting him, releasing him, preferably before March 17th. Now, those are the scenarios of how I can see Kyle Pitts being drafted. But what would be the results after we draft Kyle Pitts? What would happen after that? Well, after that in the draft, if the Giants, like I said, I think they would have to be comfortable in their wide receiving core before they get Kyle Pitts. So I don't envision another wide receiver being drafted or a wide receiver being drafted for the Giants until about the mid-round. So if you're a guy that really wants a wide receiver in this draft, but the Giants go ahead and get Kyle Pitts, like I said, they obviously addressed wide receiver in free agency if they want to go get Kyle Pitts. So you probably won't see another wide receiver drafted or a wide receiver drafted for the Giants until about the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I don't think they would spend another pick on another wide receiver or another offensive weapon without addressing any of the other needs on the team, like cornerback, depth offensive line, linebacker, edge rusher, whatever the case may be. I don't see them going after another offensive option after addressing wide receiver in free agency, getting a tight end, and drafting another wide receiver early. I just don't see it. Now, in the season, this could work out very, very well if the Giants do what they have to do in free agency. Like I said, this is very hard to really pinpoint what the Giants are going to do and how to project the Giants, what their future holds and their success in 2021, because we haven't even gone through the new league year yet, which is going to be happening in about 19 days from now. So obviously, if this scenario completely happened, I can see, if everything I said happened, I could see the Giants being very, very successful in the 2021 season. Well, you may be wondering, well, KB, why are you so opposed to getting Kyle Pitts then? Because I don't think we live in a perfect world. Okay, I don't think we lived in a perfect world. I think if the Giants went ahead and they addressed wide receiver in free agency without getting a big target like Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay, we would probably end up with a guy like Corey Davis, who had a really good season last year, but still remains inconsistent. We still yet to see some consistency from Corey Davis, so we don't know really what he's going to be. Is he really a number 1 receiver? And then if we go ahead and draft Kyle Pitts, that's another potential number 1 wide receiver we are not drafting. So we missed the opportunity with Allen Robinson or Kenny Golladay, and then we're going to go ahead and miss an opportunity with Jalen Waddle, a Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, or a Rashad Bateman. Now, all those guys won't be available, but at least 1 or 2 of those guys will be available at 11. So that is two ways you could potentially miss out on a number 1 wide receiver. Then go ahead and drafting Kyle Pitts. I don't like it. I don't like it. We could be very successful in a perfect world if the Giants were to get Corey Davis, and he would have been a fantastic pickup. We go ahead and get Kyle Pitts. We get rid of Evan Engram before the new league year starts. We save another $6 million. Maybe we get another wide receiver late in the draft, and he turns out to be pretty good and helps out the wide receiving core, helps out the weapons for Daniel Jones. In a perfect world, that will be fantastic. To have like I don't know, like how Carolina used to be back in the day with Cam Newton and Greg Olsen, right? Greg Olsen was always that number 1 target over there, after Steve Smith left, of course, but Greg Olsen was that number 1 target over there. That would kind of be Kyle Pitts for the New York Giants without a fantastic wide receiving core. But that's what I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you guys still want Kyle Pitts? Do you guys don't want Kyle Pitts? I want to know all you guys' scenario, how you see the Giants getting Kyle Pitts before they draft him and after they draft him. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts and everybody's mind into the comments. So that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Woo!